I'm Dennis. For those of you who I haven't met at the last one of these, I managed to make it too. Hi, nice to meet you. Been lurking in the Discord for a while, but finally have something to show for myself today. So I'm just a hobbyist. I'm a hobbyist dev who's been working on a solo project, just a tiny little RPG for quite a while now, and now it is finally ready. There we go. It's mostly finished and it's coming out on Steam a couple weeks from tomorrow, so I started networking far too late, but don't worry. So this right here is miniquest. It is a small RPG with a very minimalist style to it, and a slow library Wi-Fi, and a faulty HDMI port in my laptop, so we're off to a great start. Well, there's the Steam page. There it is. So I guess I'll just read the blurb because it does a better job of explaining what it is than I could. I mean, I guess I wrote the blurb, so it does exactly the same amount of good job. Yeah, it's a retro fantasy quest shrunk down to the smallest possible size. Challenging turn-based combat meets the tight pacing of an arcade game in this minimalist RPG. Become the chosen ones, vanquish the Dark Lord all in the span of a couple of hours, and then do it again and again, forever? Question mark. Yeah. So basically, this came from me trying to figure out a new structure, like what's the sort of structure that an RPG hasn't taken yet, and I thought arcade game. So there are some like roguelike RPGs, but those are designed to be endlessly replayable, mostly through randomization. But the thing about an arcade game is it's very short, at least short for the genre. This game is about 3 hours long in our first playthrough, which is tiny for an RPG. But they're replayable, not because they're random. They're very replayable, not because they're random, but just because they're jam-packed with stuff for how small they are. There's no filler, and there's lots of room for skill expression in repeat playthroughs. Right? So you can like push for a high score, right? So what's the RPG version of that look like? Well, it is a very straightforward RPG story. You have a generic bad guy attacking your abstract, tiny little toy box looking world here. And it has dungeons that are just abstracted down to little tiles that you are exploring by moving your little board piece around. Kind of like exploring the maps in a roguelike, like Slay the Spire or something like that. It's got very old school style party-based, turn-based combat, but featuring pretty small numbers, a la something like Paper Mario. And it's got a branching structure with many. There we go. It's got a branching structure with various places to go and different endings to achieve and secrets to find for repeat playthroughs. Right. So I'll just fire this thing up real quick. You can get a feel for what it looks like. So maybe this doesn't crash too. Be positive. Sorry. Yeah. So we have. I'm getting a sound from the projector, but. There's the soundtrack. Okay. So right now I'm just in the middle of a, here, sorry, there's some story stuff at the start. So you begin in the generic forest village. You're given some amount of money and initial rations. You're sent out onto your quest. You meet the merchant. You buy some items. All of this is meant to be pretty familiar to veterans of the genre. Let's buy some generically named potions as well. All right, so all of this is intentional. You're supposed to get into this with the feeling that you're on basically the archetypal RPG quest, shrunk down as small as it can possibly be. The places you go to are called, like the first level we're about to be going to, is literally just called the forest, right? There's no proper nouns anywhere in the entire game. It's meant to evoke a feeling of like an archetypal quest that you are exploring all the possible paths through as you replay it. All right, and on a first playthrough, you will be heading through dungeons like this, exploring tiles, and managing your attrition-based resources as you go. We have health, we have mana, use the mana to cast spells, and so on. We'll be encountering random enemies. The enemies all have cute little flavor texts, and you can check them to get various bits of lore or jokes. Every enemy has only a single line of text explaining what it does and a single line of flavor text, right? So the whole thing is meant to be very, very minimalist in presentation, and I've strongly focused on elegance of the game mechanics and simplicity, but there's a surprising amount of depth to it. So, for example, here's my warrior. He's got 2 attack. He's going to attack the slime. It's going to do 2 damage, right? You know what's going to happen before you do it. The battles are more of like a puzzle than they are a RPG with like a whole lot of stats behind the scenes, right? So we got out of that fight having spent a small amount of resources and taken a little bit of damage, right? And then you'll get a little bit of gold and a little bit of experience. And when we move to the next tile, you'll see we've regained 1 little health and we found some treasure. So the core gameplay loop is exploring these tile-based dungeons and managing these resources. You'll notice at the top right, our hunger has gone up, that's a little H. If it gets to 100, you start taking damage unless you have rations from the shop. So the more rations you buy, the more of the dungeon you can explore, the more gold and XP you can get, but the less money you've spent on useful things for fighting the boss, right? So there's balance that you have to strike in terms of getting through the whole level from here to the boss, the big skull on the other side. You want to be able to explore as much of the dungeon as you can, but if you explore too much, you'll run out of resources and die, and then you'll have to restart the level. All right. And that's basically the core gameplay. We have random events here. There's a red mushroom. Someone can eat it if they're feeling brave to get +1 attack, but take 8 damage for the rest of this chapter. And the chapter is just the screen you see right here, the dungeon we're on, the forest. Pick someone to eat it. And there's a lot of surprising amounts of depth to be found on like repeat playthroughs. For example, your first run through the game, maybe you won't really think too much about who should eat the mushroom or if you should eat it at all. But say the mage has an attack that hits everyone, so that's +1 damage to everyone. The rogue has an attack that hits twice, so it would be +2 damage to a single target. Which one of those you choose can matter a lot because the game, true to the arcade inspirations, is quite challenging, at least on the harder paths, right? So on a first playthrough, someone's probably going to just play the game pretty straightforwardly and go through the bottom path on the world map, more or less. If anyone's ever played Star Fox, it's got a structure very similar to that, where every level has optional objectives you can achieve, although they're usually hidden, like it doesn't tell you what to do. That will unlock the different paths on the world map. And you start, so from this level right here, there was 3 different ways that you could have gone based off of various events related to the story or secret challenges you can do that will get you to the higher paths. And the higher paths are both higher up in the world and also more difficult and also meant to be deeper into, have more specific story stuff going on. So on a first playthrough, most people are just going to go all the way down the bottom path, straight to the Dark Lord's castle. They're going to have a straightforward showdown with the bad guy. They're going to win. The world is safe. Right? But then, 1 generation later, he comes back and it all starts again. So each new replay through the game is diegetically like part of the story, and everything that you're doing is like there's meant to be a pretty strong synergy between the experience of playing an arcade game over again and the story that is unfolding in this RPG. Where at first it's just very straightforward, simple, fun, and you're just jamming your quarters in until you win. In this case, dying and reloading and trying the easier paths. But eventually you try again, you realize all the little tricks you can figure out in the combat. Like, oh, could I have gone through that fight without spending that 2 MP? Maybe I could have, and then I would have had enough to beat this elite fight over here that might unlock the higher path, right? You'll figure stuff like that out, and then the game will start revealing more and more bits of depth to it as you go. I don't have the sound on, and I don't know how to get the sound on, but there's...
There's a knob, you might have to turn
There's a knob. Oh, yeah, some sound. But yeah, it's got a... Oh, too loud. But yeah, it's also got a... Well, there's a happy balance somewhere and everything, isn't there? But yeah, it's also got a chiptune soundtrack with a lot of retro RPG inspiration. That, you know, every playtester I've seen has been humming this track to themselves eventually. Lots of little bleepy bloopy sound effects. I think overall it sounds, the music is a big part of the experience as well. I guess I don't have much more to say other than
Questions?
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, go for it. This thing's also coming out in like 2 weeks from tomorrow on Steam, and there's a free demo. So if anyone's interested or knows anyone who would be interested, feel free to get in touch. Hi. Yeah. Hi. Yeah.
So, you said when you beat the boss, like it comes back next generation.
Yeah.
What if you die? Does that progress the story of generation?
Yeah, if you die, there's a diegetic reason for being able to try again as well. The 4 chosen heroes are being chosen by the goddess of time, who gives you time rewinding powers. Oh my god, it's an indie RPG made by one person where the saving and reloading is diegetic. No one's ever done that. Yeah, there's reasons for everything. Like if you just give up from the menu and just quit, the next time you play it won't be a generation later. It'll be like 3 days later when the government's like, oh crap, we have to pick some new heroes now, and everything is worse. There's higher level monsters everywhere because you gave up and they started winning. Stuff like that. It's a whole lot of that. Yeah.
So I can see that like the map kind of has like a set layout, but like each area, are they procedurally generated or is everything?
No, the layout of the maps are always the same, but the tiles are randomized to within certain degrees. So like this level is the harbor. It's always got regular brown tiles at the bottom. That's like the docks, and then these water tiles over here that you need a boat to get through over here. Stuff like that. Every level has its own shape. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
I think I'm out of time.
If you have more questions for Dennis, you can talk to him after we're done the presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you.